I saw David Gerard post something earlier this morning about how the UK government is using AI to summarize and synthesize public consultations. And of course, what it does is it doesn't just summarize them, it rather just like truncates them. And furthermore, it actually reverses the meaning of stuff sometimes. And it reminded me of something Bianca Wiley wrote a couple months ago about just sort of an exhortation to just not use AI for summarizing stuff because that's like the process of understanding what the stuff says and internalizing it and sort of reinterpreting it. And I mean, to me, it's just kind of you know, a serious thing that if you're using a tool to absorb, to abridge, information for the purpose of uptake and actually doing something about it. But in the process, it actually you know, if the person, the consultation said, the consensus is like do X, and the AI comes back and says don't do X, or probably the opposite. The actual consultations say don't do X, and then the AI says do X. And we've seen that happen too with the Apple Intelligence. So like, Apple is yanking that product because it's a freaking liability, and I'm sure they're going to get sued or already being sued by media outlets for basically mangling and misrepresenting their content. So it's like, I guess the thing is, like, the reason why I'm thinking about this is because of the stuff that I've been working on, which is kind of like the diametric opposite of this. I got really interested in functional programming like almost 20 years ago, maybe 2006, 2007. I really started poking at Haskell. And I thought that was just a super interesting language. And what I thought about it that was interesting was that the sort of notion of referential transparency, where if you have a function that does something, and then the function, you put the input into a function and you get an output, you can just save the output because it will always be the same for a given input. And that's caching, that's memoization is what it's called, not memorization, but memoization. And that's like a really useful capability. And one of the things I think that is so important and powerful about computers is the ability to do that. Like, you get, and this is sort of von Neumann's contribution way back in the day, is being able to take an unreliable system and turn it into a reliable system. And short of a hardware failure, you will always get the same results. And so you get that kind of a guarantee, and you get that when you're using pure functions, but there's other ways to sort of achieve that kind of referential transparency. It's really, really useful because it gives you some sort of certainty that if I do this, I get that every time, forever, until the heat death of the universe. And by contrast with these statistical systems, and the thing is like, all these AI systems are always going to be statistical. They always will do, just based on what the input is. Like, they may not give you the same results even with the same input. You don't know, and you just can't trust it. Like, you cannot be sure that what you're going to get is something better in the outcome. Now, people argue about this and they say, well, what we need neurosymbolic, and so that's like giving having a sort of a symbolic element aspect of it. So you're using neural net, and then you've got like a regular computer there that it's controlling, more or less. Well, actually, that's not the same thing, but it's that kind of idea, though. So But like still, like these systems are so much more expensive to run. And so, to me, like the functional programming stuff, like I'll give you an example, like the I remember somebody telling me a story about loading like a whole crapload of insert statements from SQLs like back in the day before like that syntax was abridged, and so millions and millions of insert blah blah values, whatever, uh, over and over again to load a database. Now it got a syntax error, and this guy that I know, he's like, it said insert, into thing value C, like VALUEC. And it turns out that the difference between an S and a C in ASCII is 1 bit. So 1 bit in the memory got flipped, and this is, of course, back in the days before RAM was better, and so this kind of thing happened all the time. But like that's the kind of error that's the kind of thing that would need to, like a freaking cosmic ray or something like that coming from the sky and flipping a bit in the memory or whatever, causing that error. And so like the point is that like deterministic computation is so reliable, and it's been reliable for decades. It just seems to be so weird to me that we're pouring all of this energy and effort into basically a less reliable system that you just can't trust. And proponents are like, oh, we'll make it better. Like it's like, we'll use neurosymbolic, we'll use this sort of outrigger computer representation, or we'll just get more parameters, or better hyper parameters, or whatever was better architecture. It'll just be better. But it's like, yeah, like no matter how good you make it, it's never going to be 100%. And like the thing is about like deterministic methods is it is 100%, notwithstanding like literal hardware failures, which are much mitigated nowadays anyway. So like I have trouble like buying it, is really what it reduces to. Anyway, gonna finish my coffee.